Wow, we are close.
I feel especially close to you right now.
We're leaving this in. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm with the great James Allen. We're here in Toronto. James is a very well-known magician here in Toronto, as well as other parts of Canada and around the world for his magic. So why don't we begin?
What have you heard?
Oh, I've heard the good, the bad, and the ugly, and
I was gonna say I've been as far as Sarnia, Montreal. I don't know about the rest of the world.
So you've been around, you've been around the scene for a long time, and I don't want this to be a regular entry. I just want to ask, about
yeah, sure.
Why do you do magic? What do you feel like you get out of it? What?
I got sucked into magic. Completely almost against my will. I read Teller's essay about practicing the cups and balls at Bob Reed's house and how to play in traffic, and then discovered that because this was sort of the earlier days of the internet when you couldn't Google absolutely everything, but I discovered I lived around the corner from Morrissey Magic, and at that time I think there were 7 or 8 magic shops left in Canada, so that's sort of pretty hard to do. And one of their specialties is making aluminum and copper spun cups and balls sets. So, well, this is kind of interesting, lucky, happenstance. And secrets are addictive. And I was doing math at U of T at that point, and there's this matchup between the way a good bit of problem solving in math and a good magic trick are put together. There's sort of, mathematicians have this wacky idea that doesn't make sense to normal people about what they consider beautiful.
Elegant.
Yeah, but no, that there's an actual beauty in the way that certain things conspire to work out and be symmetrical in these certain patterns that
conservation
unfold.
Of energy.
That's physics, not math.
No, but it's along the same lines. Things being done in the most efficient manner. Is that sort of?
But not even that they're done in the most efficient way possible, but that you seem to get more out of the secrets than you put in. They have a life of their own, and the problems almost start solving themselves for you. When you put together, the easiest examples are when you put together sort of these packet trick things, and you sort of realize, oh, I never had to see the backs of any of those cards, so the way I get a free kicker ending. I didn't have to do anything extra for it. It was just already there waiting inside the structure of it. And there's that thing that happens in magic the same way as does it. Oh, you get all of this extra punch for free, and there's a beauty to it, which
like the inner life of the trick. You saw beauty in some of them, not.
Yeah, and mathematicians talk not about inventing math, but about discovering math, and there's a fair number of magicians who talk about that too, where it's like, I didn't invent this trick, I discovered that this trick was possible. And there's that same sort of feeling, which is really quite pretty, and then you start performing for people, and all of a sudden they start gasping, and it does wonderful things for your self-esteem when you're a math nerd.
It is true that, look, we're using, let's say card magic.
Yep.
We're using 52 pieces of paper, plus a joker, 53, plus, maybe we have 2 jokers. You would think that there's only a limited combination of things that you can do, but things are being discovered all the time with, we don't want to give too much away, but all sorts of mathematical principles being used in magic.
Which is funny, because the amount of mathematical magic I do, or mathematical based magic, is almost zero.
Wow, how disappointing.
I know, I read the Percy Diaconus Ian Graham book, and there's nothing in there I want to do.
What about the magic square? How do you feel about that?
I did the magic square once for a little while. It was, the secret, because the other thing is, once you spent a little bit of time in math, or even probably just university or the sciences in general, there's a lot of mathematical magic that just sort of has a stink to it of, I don't know exactly what the formula is, but I'm pretty sure you're not doing as much work as you claim to be doing.
It feels formulaic.
But yeah, it was, yes, if I were willing to set that on. So for me, watching mathematical magic, it's the same way that I think a lot of people feel when they watch big box illusions. I don't know if I'm clapping for you, or if I'm clapping for Doug Henning that gave you the idea that you should put this trick in your show, or if you're clapping for Jim Steinmeier, who designed the thing in the first place. So there's this feeling when you see tricks that have that little sort of a bit of a mathematical smell to them. I don't know who I'm clapping for. And that makes me feel weird.
Do you think that audiences, or when people see magic, do you think that they're thinking about who designed the effect? Like, do you feel like there's certain people when they're performing, you're thinking, okay, this is because of this, mathematical formula, or there's a really smart illusion designer that David Copperfield hired to be able to make this disappear?
Well,
or do you feel like
there are some people I think who recognize that, but the vast majority of people absolutely not. And the proof of that is the people who go on and, you take the extreme example, get greenlit for a television series because they do the invisible deck. And it's like, oh wow! And
names, no. You know what? We'll cut it. No names. But I mean, yes, I understand that's a huge problem in magic, and it's one of the. I sent out an email. You're on my email list. Mm-hmm. Maybe you got my email yesterday. I sent out an email, and the whole thing, what I was writing in the email, is most magic on television, or even what people are seeing on the internet, a lot of times are not even magicians. They're literally people performing for actors. It's completely fake, and some of the TV shows as well. It's completely manufactured. They're hiring actors, bringing them on set. Non-magicians are performing whatever they're doing. I don't even know what they're performing, and then they cut it and edit it to make it look into something else. And I had this really surreal experience for the past, I think it's coming up on 10 months now. So over across the street at Magicana, we host a blog column called The Lion's Den, and Jamie Ian Swiss writes blog posts,
these long form articles, and he does one a week about either a great topic in magic or a great magician. And one of the things that just has to get done along with that is, and he picks out performances of theirs from YouTube, and I have to take one of those videos and carve out something that fits within 60 seconds, because there's a time upload thing on a lot of these things like Twitter and whatever.
Okay,
so you have to cut something that fits within a minute and goes up on there, and we'll get people to say, I want to read this article, assuming you've never heard of who is Tom Mullica or who is Dave Williamson, and you're just going to read it anyway, but something that will capture the imagination. And these so-called greatest performers of all time, I find it excruciatingly difficult to go through and get them to go through some sort of complete story arc in less than 1 minute. Like, they talk and they introduce and they set up and they have some feints and some gags and there's conversations going on, and by the time something magical actually happens, I'm in a minute and 20 seconds in.
It's true. Juan Tamariz, the first time I heard about him, magicians were telling me about this amazing Spanish magician. How are we doing on time, by the way? I don't know how to make this work.
6 minutes.
Oh, 6. Okay. Sorry. Technical things. Anyways, Juan Tamariz, the first time I heard about him, people send me to his videos, and I was watching this, and I was like, I was bored out of my mind, basically. Okay. And I think the reason is this: I didn't watch enough. I think we're so conditioned today to just watch something and judge it within 60 seconds, so that if you don't get a full performance or a full, like, the personality out of the thing in 60 seconds, you just move along. I think that's the attention span of today's audience. Is sad. Like, and I feel bad that I did that. And
it's really, really tough. I mean, the challenge was, I am trying to, one of the greatest close-up acts of the 20th century is supposed to be Albert Goshman with the coins and the salt shakers. And I'm going through and I'm trying to cut out a portion of this that, when you rip it out of context, still makes sense and still makes your jaw hit the floor. And I couldn't do it. But when you watch the act as a whole, and he had some advantages, which has these two women, one sitting on this side, one sitting on this side, and so you get to see their reactions. So it's not just him performing for no one, but it was they don't think in time frames of 15 seconds and 30 seconds. They're thinking in time frames of 2 minutes and 6 minutes and 12 minutes.
Yeah.
And it just, you have to get people to stop and watch enough of it, because, I mean, I'm about as hardcore as an atheist as they come, and watching Juan Tamariz can be a bit of a religious experience.
He's amazing. You know, and that's, it's sadly for me, I didn't realize that until I saw him in person. When you're watching somebody in person, you have no choice but to, unless you're, you know, a zombie on your cell phone all day, you have no choice but to watch what's happening in front of you. And that's when I understood the beauty and how amazing he was. But it's sad how trained we are to you know, watch things in short form content. It's not like,
but it also sort of proves that, you know, unless it is hyper produced, you know, video is not necessarily the medium for magic. And did you see David Blaine when he was here in Canada?
When did
that was an amazing show. This was.
No, I didn't see it here. No.
So you saw it in the States?
I have not seen it yet.
It was talk about religious experiences. Just the amount of sort of silence and gasping and applauding. It's hypnotic. But he was very honest right up front. He said, you know, normally we do this for TV, and if something doesn't go exactly the way you want, you reshoot.
Yeah.
And here it's live, and sort of, you know, saying in advance this might not all work.
Yeah.
And as far as I know, it all worked. But and so you have to up your game on video, and if part of that is editing, and you know, the greatest sort of thinker of all time is guilty of this. Remember Eugene Berger?
Okay.
So he had this great video about restaurant magic, and it was part of a trilogy called the Chicago series.
Yep.
And it was Eugene Goes Bizarre and something else, and there's a little booklet that came with the DVD set years later, and he sort of confessed inside, yeah, those were all actors, that was all scripted.
Wow, really?
So his performances in that restaurant was, that was all that was all fake.
Really?
Yep. And because for video, you need that.
You do and you don't. You do. I mean, it depends the format. So I was talking to Luis de Matos, who makes those incredible DVD sets of magicians. He's done Rene Levon. He's done.
I mean, those are game changing.
Yeah, David Williamson. He's done. He's done Danny D'Ortiz. He's done about a dozen. Paul Daniels.
He was teasing the Max Maven one a few weeks ago, and I was like,
Max Maven.
Come on, spit it out, man.
I think by the time this airs, Max Maven will be out. We'll see. Can't say anything. However, the reason why he told me he did that was Tommy Wonder. He said he knew Tommy Wonder, and he said when he saw the only surviving videos that there were of Tommy Wonder, it was tragic in a way, because generations growing up would not understand who Tommy Wonder was from those videos.
Yeah, I mean, Tommy was a huge influence on me. I loved his work, loved the books, and you know, for the time, early 2000s, those DVDs, or I guess they might have been originally VHSs, I'm not sure, those were a pretty good record for the time. And I mean, things sort of changed, the ability to shoot, the video to edit, and I gather he just sort of has his own TV studio. And
he built it.
Yeah.
But he built it, and he does these things for these reasons. He wants to be able to record in magic history all these great acts that he knows. Now he's doing Max Maven. He did Paul Daniels right before Paul Daniels passed away.
Paul Daniels one was great.
Rene Levon right before Rene Levon passed away. Yep. And I hope that he can get everybody important, because it really is beautiful and important work. So, James, let's talk about magic clubs. You
founded one.
I founded one, and
I killed one.
No, you didn't kill it.
No. There was two.
Sorry.
No, we are sitting in not outside in the sun, because magicians are allergic to the sun. Indoor kitties.
Thank you.
But there was the P. Howard Lyons Ring, Ring 99 of the International Brotherhood of Magicians, that met in the back room over there, third Monday of the month for many, many years. It was there that David Ben taught us all to do the Zero Shuffle when he was writing the Zero book. And we used to get together, and we just hung out. It was a drinking club. And it was a social thing more than anything else. But Toronto has the Sid Lorraine Hat and Rabbit Club, which is the main one, which is mostly lectures. So this is the one that when I was president of, we killed it because we realized that, first of all, most of us didn't drink anymore.
Okay.
Or ever. And everyone was already a member of the other one, so what was the point of having two? And we all saw each other all the time. So I actually did kill a magic club, but you started one.
And I also did kill mine. But it sort of died on its own. Well, I killed it by not feeding it. I basically starved the club and dehydrated. I basically neglected the club to death.
Well, you were really ambitious because your club met every week. And
so here's what I found. The problem with the club. Actually, I don't want to go into too many of the problems with the club, but I will say if I do another club ever, or if I'm ever involved with another club, it would be structured meetings and there would be a lecture every single meeting. However, it wouldn't not necessarily be an outside lecturer. I was rereading the Ascanio book recently, and I was reading about Ascanio doing a series of 5 lectures in a year.
This is the Structural Conception of Magic?
Yeah.
Or the find me the person who translated that into English so I can hug them.
Jason England and Raphael Benatar, and I forget all the people, but
Yeah.
a lot of people involved. Anyways, the point is, you had a guy like Ascanio doing a lecture series, 5 lectures, on his thoughts on magic, presentation, technique, etc., going on throughout the year. And I find today most magic clubs are just like, it's basically a season pass to lectures,
Yep.
which is not a bad thing if that's what it was billed at, because I find there, when I read about old magic clubs in books, and you see the photos, people would dress up, they would bring their girlfriends, they would bring their wives. It was really a social evening. Okay, there's going to be magic performed, we're going to talk.
Wait, women at a magic gathering?
Women, tons, loads of women at a magic club. And this was not too long ago.
That's what
And then what happened?
We can go back to that. Well, I found with the Monday night one, the weekly was just too often because,
Yeah.
you work on hard stuff and I work on hard stuff. And if you're working on stuff which is not just, oh, here's the new application I found for an Elmsley count, it really takes time. And within like 3 of those, you've burned through everything that you're working on. And it's going to be another 3 months before you have meaningful new stuff to share with anyone because just the amount of time you have to be locked in your room with the mirror. And it just... it goes through what you would share too quickly. And then you sort of say, well, either I can sit back on the sidelines or I can start paging through magazines looking for quick, easy things that are sort of eye candy, no substance that I can just, hey, look what I found. So at least I have something to say and people will pay attention to me. And magic clubs seem to live fast and die young.
Yeah, it's sad, but it's true. And I really did have lofty ideals. I had a big vision. So my vision was for the first phase of the club, which we never got to, I started also this Open Sesame show, which was like this free magic show.
Where you dressed up as a Ninja Turtle.
Where I dressed up not only as a Ninja Turtle, but also as Uri Geller. For those of you who remember.
Uri Geller was a Ninja Turtle?
No, there was 2 separate.
Oh, that's right. Okay,
there was 2 separate ones.
I only have photos of the Ninja Turtle on my phone.
I have. Okay, I'll send you. I have photos. I don't have video, but
That's why I'm well known around the world. I'm very good at accumulating blackmail photos.
He is. This is why we're here right now. This is actually a blackmail type thing.
This is so you can even the score?
I'm not good at jokes. I'm sorry. Anyway, so look, back to my vision. My grand vision was to do this magic club where people would meet every week, which might not have been the right schedule, but also have a performance aspect. So my idea was that there would be a show every single club meeting where the club members could meet, hang out, and then there would be a magic show, what people are working on, and they do, their newest, not necessarily their newest material, but just whatever they want to do, whoever wants to perform, we organize a little show and do it, and people invite their family and their friends, and we turn it into an actual social club. Unfortunately, it never really got to that point because I think the concept was not really understood.
Yeah, and I know from having there are a number of people who have come through town who try to do workshops, and it's the kind of workshop where you take a piece that you're working on, show it, and give feedback. And John Carney has done a version of it, Dave Merry did a version of it, David Regal did a version of it, Eugene Berger did one where you actually had to submit a script 2 weeks in advance, so you had to be really prepared. And getting people to turn out to those was always pulling teeth. And I think that is just, magicians are so used to hiding behind their secrets and a fair number of stock lines that performing for people who actually know what's going on is really petrifying. And it was really hard just to get up the courage to do that. I'm not even sure if I'm comfortable doing that.
It's tough. I had a tough time doing it. I think everybody involved had a tough time. So anyways, it never really took off the ground, but I sort of have weird thoughts about magic clubs. I would love to be part of a group that would actually, work on stuff. Unfortunately, I haven't found a group that's really willing to sit down on a regular basis, and we tried it a couple times in the city. Different people have tried it, Ben Train, me. There's been a couple people who have popped up with, different meetings, and they have always just fizzled out or, not.
It's, it's not sustainable. I mean, I think it was Michael Godot, the juggler, who said it, but people who are in this line of work are people who saw the movie Groundhog Day and thought that was a fantastic life goal. I mean, you are, doing the same material and watching the same material so many times over and over and over and over again. And it's those people that want to have something new to show that are not going to be staying with anything long enough to actually have it start to shine.
Okay. I had not heard that before. I mean, I know that magic takes very long. Most people stick with the same material. They change some material throughout their career, but they stay with the same material their whole life, pretty much. And
well, when I got my first show together,
God, the burger looks amazing. Sorry.
Shiny object much?
Thank you. Just throw the camera over. It's fine. Oh, can we have some ketchup?
Yeah, I was gonna bring this.
Oh yeah, that's great. That's great. Okay, so I don't know. Should we take a break and eat this?
Well, no. We'll just cut. I'll finish my sentence and I'll have a fry in my mouth. No, because when I got my first show together, that was sort of a solid 55 minutes of just me, and I still do, with a little bit of evolution, every single trick that was in that show, and now once I got that one show, and that was 2012, a really, really good year for me is a year where I find 2 new things that I can start putting there in that mix. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a good year. And there was a year where I was dating someone like really seriously, where I don't think I did a single thing. I just, not spending enough time at home.
You were too busy.
I was too busy. I was distracted.
He was distracted.
Oh yeah.
Magic took the backseat in this relationship. I'm sorry, I'm so bad at jokes.
Just whatever you do, magicians, don't develop social skills or relationship skills. It will destroy your magic.
It will destroy your life. Just basically.
Don't get me wrong, it was a fun year, but
stay in your rooms. Don't go outside. Stay where it's safe. That's all you need to know.
I gave that advice to a parent recently. I said, no, magic is the thing that's going to protect them from girls.
It will. Well, I don't know. All right.
Have you ever successfully used magic to get girls?
I don't believe in that. Yeah, I really don't. I find it like really creepy. I swear, every single time.
Which means you tried and you've just been shot down many times.
That's not true. Look, one of my favorite effects, and I see everybody doing it now in this weird way, is a 2-card transposition.
Right?
And I see all these guys.
It was on the Spidey DVD, right?
It's on a lot of DVDs. You know.
Oh, that one.
So there's a new version of this trick, which you may have seen me do, and a lot of magicians do it. David Blaine is also
This is the one with the...
Yeah, so...
Okay.
And how they do it, basically 2 cards magically switch places. It really is an amazing trick, but the way these magicians do it, I guess, to get views on the internet, or, you know, also in real life, it's like a creepy... I don't know. I don't personally like it, but they fold the card, they put it in the girl's mouth, and then they're like, you know, come up close and hold their hands and like, you know, put it in their mouth. It's like really, you know, I'll post a link. You know, most people have never seen it, so it's going to be amazing to them. Here's the thing, just because something is effective in magic or in life or in anything
But they
else,
all get the timing on the revelation completely wrong.
They get it horrible. But look, but it's
Which, if you want to see that trick, the best way, just speaking from personal experience, and he had a method which was sort of above and beyond, and there was extra stuff going on. But the best way to experience that trick is to watch Tyler Wilson do it on your mother.
Tyler Wilson. Oh God. Okay, guys, we're gonna cut. I gotta eat before this is getting too far. I'm gonna lose my appetite.
You're talking about my mother.
Guys, no, I mean, you said my mother. No, okay, guys, we're not talking about people's mothers. Tyler Wilson, it's not a good combination. Please.
If Tyler Wilson has a problem with it, he can come over here and...
I just don't want to hear about my mother and Tyler Wilson. Or your mother. Guys, I'm sorry, we're gonna...
This is what happens when the front of house people don't listen to you and sit your mother in the front row. And action.
And we are back.
And didn't just take half an hour to eat lunch.
We are back with James Allen. Sorry, guys, I'm not...
Unless you do the worst editing job ever, they won't know we left.
Guys, the editing is going to be so perfect. You will not notice any discrepancies in between the seating, anything. Anyways, I'm back here with James Allen. One thing that I wanted to talk to you about, James, which I personally have very strong opinions on, is the use of duct tape in magic.
What color duct tape?
Any color.
All right.
And you are a person who uses a lot of duct tape.
I use a lot of duct tape. Fashionably, I hope.
How do you feel about it? I just, you know, here's the thing. What is duct tape supposed to do? Cover somebody's eyes.
Yep.
What is the problem with the blindfold only?
Well, I mean, the number of people that know how a basic blindfold peak works for one. But it's fun. And it's a level of vulnerability and trust that I am pointing out some random person out of the audience. Well, not quite random, because I try and get someone who's, you know, as tall and as big as possible, so they might actually be intimidating, and getting them to plaster this tape all over my face and then blindfold me, and I'm literally at the mercy of the audience. I say about 30 seconds in, I ask someone, "Are you still here?" I say sometimes they leave. I'm serious. Sometimes at this point the whole audience leaves, and so there's a vulnerability and also the drama of ripping it off is fun, and it really does get some of my eyebrows.
So it's like a wax job every time.
Not quite, because, well, see, it's the side you rip from.
You walk into the show Canadian, you walk out Brazilian. No.
Well,
too far?
No, because it's the side you rip from. It's against the grain with the grain. So if you rip from this side, you only get eyebrows from that side. And if you rip from this side, you only get eyebrows from that side. So I always have to remember which one I did last, so they balance.
So have you ever done it the wrong way?
Well, no, it only just averages out over time.
Okay.
And the other thing is that, you know, human sweat is the best dissolver of adhesive ever. So all I have to do is, you know, if it's on there really, really, I'll just take my time. It's easy to take off. No, I do it for fun and that sort of aesthetic. And it's interesting. It's the one secret of my show that I feel comfortable giving away to people after the show. So the coins is what keeps the duct tape from sticking to my eyelids. The cloth cover on top of the duct tape is what keeps the duct tape from falling off if I start sweating too much.
Wow, so wow.
And more importantly, the duct tape is what keeps me from getting makeup on the cloth.
So this is like a whole well thought out procedure.
Yeah, so everything fits together, and then you get to, and I was at someone's house and they gave me blue duct tape once, and I thought, oh, okay, we'll do this. And then I discovered you have, so I've done sparkly duct tape at Christmas, I've done rainbow duct tape for Pride, I have duct tape with little Union Jack flags all over it when you work at a Firkin pub.
Yeah, great.
And yeah, you color code it for fun, and yeah, it's an interesting trick to do, but so what are your moral objections to duct tape?
I don't have any moral objections. I just find it extremely distasteful. Like, it's for me a stylistic thing, because what you talked about, sweating and like tape, it just feels like, you know, it's the same way that I feel about spit on stage, or like, I just don't want to see or feel people's bodily fluids in the course of most shows.
I was going to say, well, you don't see any bodily fluids in the course of my show, but yeah, I don't know what to say other than that I do it because I like it, and I like the look of it. And someone was saying on Facebook,
it's a stylistic thing.
Yeah, and someone was saying, I think I've seen more photos of you with duct tape than without. And I said, well, no, it's really, really simple. The more of my face you cover up, the more attractive I look.
That is unnecessarily cruel.
But not necessarily false.
Okay, interesting. I'm not going to change my opinion on duct tape. You haven't convinced me, but I understand now a little bit more why you use it.
Yeah, and it's and at the end of the day, you just have to. The most important to please on stage is yourself, because if you're not having fun, and you know, it is fun for the audience, because you know, I've heard the joke about the eyebrows 8 single times. Where they say, "No, what about your eyebrows?" It's like you think I don't know this? That I haven't been doing this for 5 years?
That's what I'm worried about. That for me, because I don't know anything about it. I've never tried it.
They grow back.
They grow back. Apparently, they grow back. I don't know. I've seen. You know what? I'm not going to talk about what I've seen. However, apparently they grow back. What is it that you want an audience to leave with after they've seen your show? What do you want them to be feeling? What do you want them to be thinking? What is that for you?
I want them, well, there's a couple different levels to that answer. There's the uber superficial, which is I just want them to leave having had a lot of fun. So that's the sort of superficial answer. And then there's the super highfalutin, snobby, philosophical one that I aim for, but who knows if I ever actually hit, which is I want them to leave with a sense that there is more to the universe than they intuitively grasp.
Okay.
That, you know, that thing, what I see on the surface is not all there is, and that, you know, if it, you know, it's right front and center in a magic show because someone is taking things you can't explain and shoving them in your face, essentially poking you with them like they were a stick. But that also hints to the fact that, you know, there's more of that out there.
You feel that? I mean, I feel in today's age, everybody feels like they know how things work for the most part. We live in a very
Have any idea how this camera works?
World. Honestly, it's on autofocus right now. Everything's automatic. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I just literally, there's a red button on the side and I press it. And
but yeah, there's this sort of thing that if you can build it an Amazon page, we must understand how it works.
Yeah.
And all we do is we just do a better job than many advertising companies of taking the things you don't understand and shoving it in your face with a little bit of, you know, entertainment, dramatic flair to it. But yeah, I mean, magic is this constant reminder that no, there's actually more out there to know. And, you know, clearly these people who are not doctors, not rocket scientists, not brain surgeons, they are fooling the pants off of you. So it also means, by extension, that you should not be as accepting of all the things that you see, whether it's in the newspaper or any of those places. Like you do have to question what it is that you're seeing. And the reason you have to question what you're seeing on CNN is because
fake news. It's fake news.
Don't you start. Mr. Make Magic Great Again. And I have the solution to that for you, by the way, where they wouldn't have yelled at you.
Go on.
Later, you can edit it back in there or take it out if you want. But no, you have to question what you see on CNN, because when you were watching The Magician, you had no idea where the lemons came from, and so clearly you don't see the world in that level of detail, and so you always have to be doubting, you always have to be questioning, you always have to be learning, and seeing magic is just one way to spark that for people.
What do you want? A great answer. Thank you, by the way. What is it that you want the audience to walk away knowing about you, whether they've seen you perform for one trick, 5 minutes, or an hour long, an evening's entertainment, 90 minutes, 60 minutes, whatever it is?
I want them to know about the kind of person that I am. I mean, top of that list is how seriously I take what I do, when it comes down to whether it's the details of how I'm dressed or the way that, in a very Stephen Fry-like way, I obsess over the words that I use, and I try and make my magic not sound like other people's magic. Like, you will never hear me in a show say, "Here I have a deck of cards, pick a card." Okay. Just, it never happens. And some things you learn about me by inference. Like, if you are watching the whole 1 hour or whatever show, yes, there's enough there for you to figure out that I studied math at the University of Toronto. That one I just sort of come out and say. I'm a pretty nerdy person deep down inside. That I'm an atheist. That I'm gay. That's all in there, even though I don't come out and say it.
But it's all in there.
Yeah, and so
like through the jokes and through the
and even if you don't and even if you don't know the words to say it, you sort of you get that sense of who I am.
Yeah, I think everybody, everybody who performs, I think, tries to. This is one of the hardest things, isn't it? Getting people to know who you are.
Well, and Eugene Berger was big on that. The most important thing in magic is to know who you are, which is a shame that we try and get people to kick off their magic careers at the age where they know the least about that, 16 and 18 and 20, when they're absolutely clueless as to who they are and what they want to do. And people are still, you used to know what you wanted to do when you were finishing high school in this province, 18, 19. They bumped that down to 17, 18 when they took out grade 13. And I mean, the number of people that I have known that have, had to go to university, change their major, change schools, because you have no idea what you're doing, where you want to be, where you want to go. None of us know. No. At all.
We don't even know who we are. I mean, it's funny, we were talking about the Scania book before.
You're James, I'm Mahdi, come on. That's not right.
I am James, he's Mahdi. First of all, it's Maddie.
And you should see my Escanio spread.
You should. Speaking of Escanio, though, in his book, he talks about his performing persona, which is basically himself. He's literally himself, but an idealized version of himself, like who he
for sure.
wishes he was at the party. Himself, but more charismatic, more charming, more well-spoken, eloquent, well-dressed, etc. Like
less forgetful, less shy,
forgetful. Less, Escanio-ish.
No, and he's right.
Or would that be more Escanio-ish?
I don't know.
Should the Escanio spread be performed hunched over or straight back?
Oh.
Or just like regular, like posture, like. Cause
this is getting needlessly philosophical.
Okay.
I don't actually know how to do the Escanio spread.
He doesn't know the move. Okay, guys. Anyways,
actually, no, I take that back. I do know how to do the Escanio spread. I just haven't done it in years.
We have a small amount of time to make this announcement. James Allen, is performing live
at Spirit House in Toronto.
Spirit House in Toronto, and
it's a show called Magic and Martini.
Magic and Martini.
And if you are willing to do whatever this thing is that Mahdi is about to tell you to do, you could win 2 free tickets to the show.
If you are willing to obey my commands to the letter, to the word, you could be the lucky winners. So we're gonna ask you to like the video. Obviously you have to like the video. Obviously you have to subscribe. You have to follow James Allen. You have to.
The links are in the description.
The links are gonna be in the description. I'm not too sure which direction. Depends on what platform, but they're gonna be there.
Is this like a Penn and Teller skit where we're actually upside down this whole time?
We've been upside down this whole time. I'm not even wearing pants, really. The sky is actually green today. Look, we're giving away free tickets.
Let's be realistic. I'm giving away free tickets. You're just sitting here.
James, okay, we're gonna up the ante. Not only will you receive a free ticket, but I will accompany you to the show. I will be your date for the night. James Allen will also give you a private performance after the show. Special evening of magic. Maybe
and
James,
I will be wearing pants.
I will be wearing shorts or pants.
Aren't they the same for you?
They're the same for me, but thank you for watching. Any last words, James?
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching, guys. Seriously though, like the video, subscribe. Thank you, James, and
thank you very much.
I will see you at the show.
Fantastic.
With my date. Hopefully it's not a bad, but the demographics are against me.
It's the 21st century. Get over it.
Bye. Oh my God. Tyler Wilson. All right, let me pause this. Tyler Wilson and mothers. Definitely not what I thought I would be discussing.